Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady, the podcast. I'm Janine Liston, your hostess. This show is all about helping you to build a more sustainably profitable business. Today, I'm very pleased to have with us our guest, RJ or Rahgna Lewis. Hi, RJ.
Hi, how are you? And yes, I did just move my camera midstream.
No problem. Where are you? Well, let's start with a few questions. Where are you calling from today?
I am in used to be sunny Chester, Virginia, just south of Richmond.
Okay. Excellent. So, welcome. I'm very excited to have you here with us today. I've got a few quick fire questions to go. So, the first one is, what's one song that you would say is the soundtrack of your life right now?
Mi vida loca.
Why would you say that?
My crazy life. I adopted two dogs recently, and they're both puppies. Co me.
So, yes, I can understand why that would be a bit crazy around the household. All right.
Mm.
Next question. What's your superpower and what would be your superhero name?
Ooh, you got me. Okay. I am a tinker by nature.
Mhm.
My superhero name would be crap. You know what? I'm gonna go with digital bites, something like that. I don't know.
Digital bites, digital bits. Very good.
That's on the fly, so it was bad because of that.
Nah, that's okay. Now, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you do and the value that you bring to clients.
Well, what I do is I'm a systems strategist. Like I love to figure out puzzles, and that's actually a part of the value because I like to help people, and there's this intersection of that willingness to figure things out and being
Mhm.
okay with that puzzle not necessarily being my own. So
Mhm.
I bring that to the table.
Okay, excellent. I love it. Okay, so I'd like to take you back and dig a bit into your pricing journey. So, why don't you tell us how you got started in your business and what it was like the first time you had to set a price for something?
Well, I am a recovering web developer. So my
Mhm.
business initially started about a decade ago
Mhm.
as a web developer, and I loved it. And like I said, I'm a tinker. I like to help people. It fits. But just because it's easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for someone else. So I
Mhm.
always would like go to people and say, "Yes, I can do this. This will take no time. I got you." And I would charge hardly any money, like pennies on the dollar. So that's the
Why do you
beginning.
think that is?
Um Well, early on, I had one project for a person, and
Mhm.
I quoted them a price. It was like $1,600. Something, it was still fairly low, but
Mhm.
they said, "Oh, that's too much. I can build a website for $300 myself or something like that or for less." And I feel like I internalized that.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, yeah, no, it's not uncommon for people when they get pushback to, take that as reality
Mhm.
or, the truth, let's say, and then, base their future decisions on that, and sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's deliberate.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's definitely on purpose.
Right, sometimes you know you're doing it, and sometimes you don't know you're doing it. Sometimes you know you're doing it, but do it anyhow, right?
Mhm.
So, what was it that kind of clued you into that, maybe your price was a bit too low?
Um So, as you already know, definitely, and your listeners would love to know, pricing is about more than just the price, right? So,
Mhm,
what clued me in was when I couldn't afford things, when I
mhm.
looked at my business holistically and went, I can't pay for stuff. So,
Yeah, yeah. And so what did you do in response to that? Or
I honestly, I started listening to some very smart people on the internet,
Mhm,
and raising my prices, not arbitrarily, but coming up with different formulas for thinking about how much I really should be charging.
Mhm, mhm. And was that easy for you or
The nerdy part of it was the part where you actually have to put that number on a proposal or
Mhm,
quote that number to a person and
mhm.
watch their face. Not so much.
So are you just kind of a dive into the deep end, just do it and then figure it out as you go? Or did you find a specific way to try and make that easier for yourself?
I found a way to make it easier for myself. I
Mhm,
literally started kind of regulating and trying to structure and create a structure around my pricing.
mhm,
Um, and it's iterative. I go back to the drawing board even now on a regular basis.
mhm. Yeah. Well, I think that's important, because one of the things I tell people all the time is it's not a static, some people tend to think that, you set the price once and then you can go on your merry way, but it's actually something that's very much developing over time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, for example, my
Mhm,
newest tackle, taxes. Not something I had to factor. And, I'm fortunate that
mhm.
way. So,
Not something you had to what?
not something I had to really deal with because I'm married and my husband's in the military. And generally, I wasn't making enough money for
Mhm.
my tax expense to not be pretty much covered by his.
Right.
Guess what? You make more money, you got to pay the piper.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I don't remember what it's like in the US, but certainly here in Switzerland, even like sales tax or value added tax,
Hmm.
if your business is earning under a certain amount, you don't actually have to pay that, until you get over that amount, and then
Right.
it's a little bit different. But then again, also, if it's a value added tax, it kind of sorts itself out.
Right.
But you
Right.
just have to consider that in the equation and understand its impact on your business.
Definitely.
So, what are some things that you've learned along the way when it comes to pricing?
First, this is just the thing that I kind of developed or
Mhm,
evolved in my mind is get your mind out of other people's pockets. Stop making snap decisions about what you think someone else can afford.
mhm.
And instead, the price is the price. Tell them what you have to charge and what their investment is going to be.
Right. That's great. I love that because it's a something that I've heard from a lot of people, "Well, why do you feel nervous about this?" "Well, I don't think they can afford it." And my
Mhm.
response is, "How dare you tell them what they can or can't afford?" You know?
Right. And it's like, how do you know? Are you looking at their balance sheet? Are they looking at their balance sheet? So
Right.
definitely.
Well, it's not our place as the person offering a service or a product or software to, determine what other people can afford. It's our job to understand what they might be willing to pay and what value they're looking for and then price accordingly, but we
Hmm.
shouldn't make judgments about what other people can and cannot afford.
Yep.
In both directions, by the way.
Yes, yes, in both directions. And really your price should not be about their affordability there are factors, but that shouldn't be your main thing. Like, oh, so I think you're cool. I'm gonna offer you that 30% discount. They didn't ask for a discount.
Right. Right. So another thing you mentioned when we were speaking is that, um, is about, offering discounts that people haven't asked for.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Um, well, along the way, I started doing it, and it would be like, I don't know. I think in my mind, I thought I was telling them the price and then giving them an incentive to accept the offer by saying, "Hey, the price is actually $4,000, but for you, because you're very special, I'm gonna give you like 40% off."
Mhm.
And so then they go, "Oh my God, I'm getting a ton of value,"
Right.
which is not
And
actually the way
also
that
to
happens.
be a bit nice. I would challenge that a lot of people do that also to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think in my mind, though, I really was doing it to get the business. That was the way to not have to have the conversation about this
Right.
price is too high.
Right. Did anybody ever ask you for further discounts?
Actually, yeah. But in all honesty, yes, that has happened.
Yeah.
But what's funny about it, when I stopped doing that,
Mm-hmm.
people stopped asking for discounts, you
Yeah.
know?
That's an important point. So on the one hand, you were cueing to them that you were open to discounting before
Mhm.
they even objected to the price, even much less
Exactly.
ask for a discount. Yeah. Interesting. I
Definitely.
had a client who used to, for new customers, she always gave a 10% discount. I was like, why? And it got
Definitely.
really silent.
It's like, I don't know. It seemed like a
And
fun,
I was like, it's
but
because you feel like your price is too high, right? And she said,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah, she was nervous about asking it. She was preemptively striking so that she wouldn't get a no.
Yep. It's get your mind out of other people's pockets.
Exactly. So was it difficult for you to stop doing that? Because it can become a habit.
Well, it was a habit, yes, but actually stopping was not difficult because, like I said, I realized that I had a need.
Mhm.
And I kind of just, as I listened to some of my mentors online, things like that, and worked with other people, I went, okay, this is how the sausage gets made. I cannot be there and offer and do if I can't get paid and I can't buy groceries. Like, this job has to be viable. So,
Right, right. No, it's very true. I mean, it goes back to that, put on your mask first and then help the other people around you. In this case, it's, a metaphor for get your house in order and you'll be in a better position to be there to help others and to continue help them if you're
exactly.
profitable in your business. So another thing that you shared with me is that you found this whole topic. I'm paraphrasing maybe about topic, but a journey of self-discovery. So what would you say you learned along the way?
I learned a lot about not just being an owner, but about myself as a person. I didn't realize that a lot of this did stem from wanting to be nice and that impetus to help people, but that
Mhm.
is at my core who I am.
Mhm.
And I'm also a person that can have hard conversations. Well, for
Right.
me, hard conversations.
Yeah. So I think that that's a very common thing for many people that, they want to help and be of service to others. And you can that can get in the way of being of service to yourself. But the correct path is usually finding some balance between the two. Would you agree with that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how did you go about striking that more?
Honestly, it was during the journey. I literally woke up one day. Rachel Rogers, who is, super internet famous, but she had a particular podcast where she's like, raise your rates, like just literally 2 or 3 times. I
Mhm.
wasn't comfortable with that, but after I did my due diligence in my nerdy way with my spreadsheets and had a lot of fun doing that, I was like, okay, so look, I
Mhm.
realistically need to be charging this much because I can't not. And that just helped me find the balance with pricing and then just finding the balance with business, because you know what? It turns out when you're an entrepreneur, you are actually the boss. Go
Yeah.
figure. Who knew?
Well, I think that's a really fair point that you made there. No, well, no, going back one step about the, understanding your figures. And that gives you a certain level of confidence in charging what you charge. So
Mhm,
it's quite often the fact that people don't, they don't like numbers or they don't want to go there because they're afraid of what they'll uncover. But
mhm.
if you don't, then you can end up, struggling a lot more than you have to, and not
Exactly.
being there in the long term, to be able to be there and be of service to others. your customers, right?
Yeah. And something else I even discovered is that if you can build resentment for yourself, not just around pricing itself, but around just working with people where you're like, I'm burned out because you went on vacation. Like, I'm jealous because you went on vacation and I can't afford to. And it's like, wait a minute, you know what? I can't afford to if I charge what I'm supposed to be charging.
Right.
It's that simple.
Yeah, it is. It is. Cool. So I have a few wrap-up questions for you. It goes
All
so
right.
fast. So what's the one thing you'd like people to take away from our discussion today?
Well, pricing is definitely about the journey. Be willing to have the conversations and go on the walk.
Yeah. It's an evolution, not a revolution. It's
Yes.
a marathon, not a sprint. And for many people, a lot of people probably don't realize this, is it's really more about you at the beginning, what you do and don't know, your relationship to money, success, worthiness, and those kinds of things has a big influence as well. Cool. Next question. What's the best piece of business advice you've ever been given?
Being a solopreneur is a myth.
Care to elaborate on that one?
Sure. So again, in my whole little journey, I discovered this guy, another internet famous, but his name's Paul Jarvis. And he had this great email newsletter that he talked about being a solopreneur. He's like, so people talk about doing it solo, but you need other people in your business. Like, even if you are the person delivering the main part of what you do, you probably have an accountant, hopefully. You have a bookkeeper, hopefully. If you have a newsletter, maybe you have an editor, you have a podcast editor, whatever these things are, you're not actually solo. You have support, and you can have support, and that's okay.
Right. Not only is it okay, oftentimes it's necessary.
It's vital. Yes.
Excellent. I love that. There's no such thing as a solo entrepreneur. Well, I never thought about it that way, but I like it. What's a favorite book or tool you'd like to share with us today?
So my thing that I used yesterday that I love, it's called Descript. That's descript.com. And it's an audio and video editor that is like editing a document. You literally can just overtype things and it can overdub with your voice, which is the coolest thing ever. Like, no, I don't have to retake this. I can just type it. Yay me.
Right. No, I'm a user of Descript. We use it for editing the podcast as well. And it is a fantastic tool. So if you haven't checked it out yet, we'll put that in the show notes for sure. And you're right. You can just edit the transcript and it edits the video and the audio. It's awesome.
Yes.
Makes life easier.
I cannot explain. And it's like they have a free version that's really robust.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Head on over to descript.com. Try it out.
Right.
Okay, last question for you. If people would like to find out more about how to work with you, Rahgna, where should they go?
Ooh, okay. rjlewisdigital.com. I was going to go the owner's perspective, which is a group I'm building, but to work with me, actually, you know what? t.me/the owner's perspective. It's a group that I'm building. So there are literally 3 people in there. Nobody judge me. But come on over. I'm on Telegram all day, all the time. Questions, comments, I'm there.
Perfect. And we'll put the link to your website and other links into the show notes as well. So you have different ways to reach out to Rahgna and get in touch with her. So Rahgna, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you sharing your pricing journey with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. I mean, this is so much fun. Thank you.
You're welcome. So everyone, thank you for joining us today. Whether you're watching this live or listening to the podcast later on, we hope that you enjoyed this. One last piece from me. I have a new program coming out next week. Actually, it's a different version of an old program. So if you're familiar with my 10-day customer value challenge, I have also created a self-paced version, a self-paced course of this. And if you head on over to thepricinglady.com/be the expert, as in be the expert in your customer, then you can go check it out there. As of Monday, you will be able to book the course, but right now you can check out what it's all about and find out more at thepricinglady.com. Be the expert. That's all I have for you today. I wish you all the best. Have a great day. And until next time, everyone, enjoy pricing.